Anticipation is built to this moment. York and co enter the stage at Little John's farm. The fans have been eagerly waiting, some for hours, even days. Radiohead are the headlining act. Seems like an appropriate choice for a British festival. They've been a band for almost 20 years and were initially hailed as a one-hit wonder with Creep, but have managed to prove themselves as innovators with alt-rock classics like Just to electronic journeys with everything in its right place. The band have long since sworn off their first hit Creep, after being heckled over it for the past 15 or so years, but nevertheless, they made their return to Reading tonight. Tom York teases the audience.
What's up?
And it begins. Wait a minute. Creep? The band surrenders and gives the crowd what they want. They might as well get it over and done with. Nevertheless, the crowd are loving it. As the song climaxes and the band go with full force, York's signature wails echo through the field. The audience cheer as suddenly a radio transmission is heard. As Colin Greenwood plays his iconic bass riff on top of Phil Selway's drumming. Is it simple? Yes, but it gets the job done, laying the framework for what's to come. A lot has happened the previous years in politics, especially in the UK, so the national anthem seems fitting. As the song progresses, York tries his best not to be blown away by the wind. The band have started their set with their biggest song, then a politically charged alt-rock electronica fused masterpiece. The only place they can go from here is to introduce a glitch pop inspired electronic anthem in 5/4 about disillusionment and death. As York dances across the stage, the audience attempts to clap along to the odd beat. Tom thanks the audience as both guitarists Ed O'Brien and Johnny Greenwood join Selway on the drums, leaving only York to take the role of guitarist on the next track, There There. The audience are feeding off the band's energy after the band hit them with 4 of their most energetic songs to date. So of course, to follow is All I Need. The lyrical content of this song mirrors their opener. It's a song about unrequited love and lust, but from the perspective of someone who has become disillusioned with the idea of love, similar to how the band feel with Creep. Famed guitarist Johnny Greenwood proves his importance to the band on the glockenspiel for part of the song. After the song ends, Colin Greenwood starts with another iconic bass riff for the song Nude. The song had been around for a decade by the time it finally made an appearance on In Rainbows, having previously been recorded during the OK Computer sessions. The band then introduces the opening track to their 6th album, 2 + 2 is 5. Hey, anything is possible when you're part of one of the most iconic bands since the Beatles. Like most songs by the 5-piece, the song starts out slowly, with it eventually climaxing as the audience join in with the rocking out with the band. York lets loose on the next number and shows his unwavering enthusiasm for his songs, and dances to his own rhythm while singing The Gloaming. After this song, Johnny brings back the atmospheric interference as the synths bring us into Climbing Up the Walls. Which once again climaxes with the band unwilling to come to a conclusion, until Tom York seemingly loses his microphone inside his guitar. The iconic intro to the closer from the Bends radiates from York's guitar. As the band's voices wail through the festival, the lead singer introduces my personal favourite song, Reckoner. Selway, O'Brien and both Greenwood brothers focus on the percussive elements. The older Greenwood brother carries the sonic landscape with his plastic water bottle. Leaving York to fend for himself on lead guitar and vocals. The band soars through the rest of the song, as York counts us into
1, 2, 3, 4.
Karma Police, one of the most played and streamed songs to date, one that's been covered almost 700 times. A song that the audience obviously loves singing along with, uniting the countless fans in attendance. The Greenwood brothers and O'Brien join up on stage to play the intro of Weird Fishes together, hanging out in front of Selway as York decides to do his own thing at the front of the stage. The band perfectly encapsulates the feeling of swimming, or rather drowning. With a focus on low end and drenching the band with cool blue hues, odd synths and chorus effects help this feeling as well. As the audience is still floating, York introduces the iconic intros to one of their first hits. Just. Filled with iconic guitar lines and a driving rhythm section to match. During the bridge, Johnny hints towards what would have come from the third album. Once the song is finished, the drum machine intro, fueled by Johnny, is introduced. And Tom and Colin show why they make music and not dance to it. The 10th most played song of the band, although focused heavily on otherworldly synths, is still beloved by the fans. After the heavy synth punk tune, the band decides to dial it back heavily as they start the iconic intro to exit music for a film, in which Phil fucking disappears. The orchestral backing track begins as Tom's vocals soar. The band leads us up to the monumental climax of the song, and the audience is ready. But something's missing.
Colin's gonna get drunk now because his big moment didn't happen because his little pedal went.
Ah, that would do it.
That's the way it is with us boys.
Nevertheless, the band doesn't take it personally.
My pedal's working just fine.
They launch into Body Snatchers, an odd song about having your body snatched. The true meaning of the song is heavily debated and really up for interpretation. But with the conclusion of this song comes the conclusion of their main set. The audience applauds the band as they leave the stage. Unsurprisingly, the band returns for an encore, beginning with the amnesiac tune You and Whose Army, with York taking his place on the piano and staring intensely into the audience. Which immediately resembles the imagery from 1984. Like most Radiohead songs, this begins as a slower melancholic song, slowly building and building until it ends. Ed O'Brien begins the iconic Django intro to Lucky, the penultimate track from OK Computer. The audience join the band for the brilliant chorus and they soak it in. Afterwards, the band plays their only non-album track of the night.
This is a song called These Are My Twisted Words.
The song had only been released not even a fortnight prior to the show, and shows the haunting side of their discography. After the band finished with one of their more obscure songs, they play the lead single from their most recent record. The band builds to one of the most iconic and instantly recognisable choruses in their discography. I'm just gonna let it speak for itself. Jesus Christ, it never gets old. Tom then shows his knack for public speaking.
This one is for anyone who this weekend has experimented with drugs for the first time.
After a false start, they begin Paranoid Android. As they wrap up with their first acoustic section, the fun begins. The song builds and builds until Tom sits down at the piano and sings a snippet of Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, who played earlier that night. Typically, a band would prefer to leave a festival audience with an upbeat rock tune, but as we know, Radiohead plays on their own terms. The drums begin, and the iconic piano riff starts. The audience joins in with a kick. The bass then joins in as the two guitarists help fill out the ambience. Tom's voice loops over itself with the assistance of Johnny. Like all their other tunes, the song builds and builds. Tom leaves first, with the rhythm section, Phil and Colin following suit. Johnny and Ed continue the ambience looping for the audience and finally leave the stage. The iconic stage setup spells out the title of the song for the audience. As the looping stops, the crowd cheers.